Hello, I'm going to continue on from where I just left off. Uh, so right now I'm not. mm, Let me see. Yeah, so some of these aren't great, right? It's combining these labels. I'm not sure if I wanted to combine these labels. Sometimes you need to tidy up some of these things after the fact. So let's just say we don't want labels for both of them bolts. We can come in here and go to insert labels. So we want to do change, and we want to come in here and set as current. So we want the user to be the current. We want to go to bolts, all objects. So this is what's going to come in right now for the bolts. We want to make this the same as what we made it before, right? So I don't need to create a new one. I can create a new one if I want to. You can see it's already got the other ones in here, right? So it's got with bolts written in front of it. I don't need bolts written in front of it. So let's say we want to create a new one. So let's create a new one. And I'm just going to call this ADM again so I can edit it whatever way I want to. So sometimes it jumps back there and then you have to go back in here just to find where you were. You can see ADM. I'm going to change the size of this again to 330 seconds. Now what I do usually put in that label, which I was forgetting, is I do put the standard, but then I also put in typical. So right now, when I come in here, I've closed that, so insert label. Let's see if it'll work now. It's not going to work, right? Because I don't know if I just undid all my work there by closing that out. So let me just check again. Uh, let's see, bolt object. Apparently I undid my work there. Sorry about that. Wasting time. So we'll go again. And this is just what happens sometimes. So as you can see, I, I am not without mistakes. Uh, so again, let's put in standard and let's put in typical and let's change the scale or the text height. And I like to have a frame on it. Yes, apply. Okay. And it comes in with the typical label. So now that it's safe to make the assumption that these other ones are the same. So I like to have that typical in there, so I'm going to change that for my other ones. So these ones that I created, I'm going to put it, or that one I created, so I'm going to go to my bolts all. I'm going to go to this label, and I don't need to create a new one because I just want it to be in this label. So what I usually do is I'll turn off the frame, I'll put in the text, and then I'll put the frame on again. It just makes it work a little bit easier, I think. Now you need to be careful. If you have a space at the end here that is 1/8, it'll bring the label in as 1/8. So everything needs to be 330 seconds, if that's what you want to use. And they'll come in with all the typical. All right. So the one other thing then was I was going to do was, so this one has some hidden lines. So what if we create a detailed view? Now you can create a whole nother detailed view that is for just visible members, or you can just come into the object presentation and you could create a new object presentation for just visible. So what we could do is we'll create another one here. So we'll make a copy of this and I'll call it visible. Okay. And sorry, I'm going to come up here. Now, you don't have to create a whole new one, like I said, but sometimes it's useful to have two of your own at least, not just one. Now, even though I didn't use this view, because it's very similar to the other one, I should be able to apply it. So now it's the same as that other one, basically. What I want to do now is I want to go to plates, and with the plates, I want them to be just visible. Sorry, there's a lot, as you can see. Apply, so the plates are going to be visible, and then the bolts, I just want to be visible. Just to be visible. So we'll apply that just so you can see and use it. So the plates are only going to be visible. And the bolts are only going to be visible. So you can see they've disappeared up here. So now these are also braces. So I want to put the brace on hidden, or sorry, just visible also in that drawn style. So if I come back into the drawn style, we can see the bracing right here is visible hidden system. We want to just do visible system, and then the plates, we'll go back to the plates. Do we want some sort of a label? Sure. So let's go into the plates and see what label we're going to do. So just be careful not to get these mixed up, because see plates here and beams. I've used some beam labels for plates in the past, and it's kind of restricted me a little bit. So we see we can have plate name here. So I'm just going to use this one to create mine. So I'm going to create a new one. It's going to be, I was going to have a model role as well. So put in model, plate name. See, do I want the whole, the issue is sometimes do you want the whole name or do you just want the thickness? So for this one, I'll just create thickness. And then you can also put typical in if you want. For now, I won't put typical in. So I'm just going to create that. And then again, I'm going to create this one down here. And it's going to be the same name. So model and the plate and thickness. Now, doesn't need to be placed along the object or according to the labels. This one, I do want it to have a leader line, but I haven't created that one yet. So for now, I'm just going to come here and I want to put in the model role. So it's going to have model role. And then on the next line, it's going to have thickness. So let me see where that is. Thickness. But do I want the name also? So well, let's see what it looks like. So that one is good for now, but I want to create a second one, right? Because the one I want to use, I want to have a leader, right? Thickness leader, 30 seconds. Okay, so this one I also need to be 30 seconds. That'll change it in both of them because they're both using this one. And then I want to do leader line, yes, apply, use. You can see it's coming in as gusset plate 3/8. So I think what I previously did was I just put a PL in front of that. So in here, I'll put a PL. So it's for a 1/2 inch plate or whatever thickness it is. So it's already telling you it is a plate anyway. So you could put thickness 3/8, but you know, sometimes you want the name in there. So, it depends where you want to put that. So what I would generally do then is, this is a typical bolt. I can take that out. Sometimes this here, see, I'd like to show where the leg is. So this one here, you could just manually do this one. Now, I can separate these ones from these ones, but I don't generally get that crazy on it. Like these ones are a different direction, so we can have these ones behaving differently. Or you can just turn on the hidden lines on one element if that's what you want. So if I decide, so it's reopening this, and my advanced steel hasn't done this in a long time, so I'm not sure. It didn't like the name, it's after resaving it, so I don't like that either. So if I see down here, it's E300. I think I have to shut down advanced steel and restart it. So anyway, you're getting your plate thicknesses and plate, it's a plate 3/4 inch, so you get the idea. So, depends where you want to put the labels, whatever particular way you like them. Maybe we'll put this down here and maybe you put this up here, or maybe it's better to put this on a leader line also. So, and then you got to put some weld symbols in. But that's your detailed view, two different ways of doing it. Um, there's other stuff you can do with that. Actually, I never turned off the braces never turned off, right? Because look, I can see them there. So let me go back and see what I've done incorrectly. As far as I remember, those were labeled as braces. Visible system. Hmm. So let me see. If I go back to the model, oh, hold on. Is it a brace? Yeah, it's these braces in here, but they're not. They're angles. So they're in as beams, that's why. So that's my fault when I model these. So right now, what I'll do is I'm going to change just these two for now. I'll fix the other ones later. I'll change these to horizontal bracing. If I go back to this, now it's called GA 300 for some reason. That's not. So you can see now they've disappeared because now they have a model roll of a brace. So I'll leave that like that for now, and then we'll go over here to this elevation one. So this is kind of going to be the same process. Um, so the beams, you can see the railing is turned off. So there's a bunch of stuff turned off here. So let's have a look in our drawing style and see what we got. So obviously, purposely, the railing is turned off. Sometimes on a plan view, I'll have one of them with the railing off, and then the next one will have the railing on if you want to have a railing drawn. So we're not going to worry about that one anymore. Let's go to plan view, elevation. I guess they're expecting you to number everything before approval, but I don't always number things before approval. Elevation view full. I got rid of the full. So right here, we'll do the same thing here first. Let's gonna change this. It's already tacked on. So not elevation again. This is gonna be other, right? Others. Yeah, other. Sounds like I'm talking about a cow. Scale. All right, predefined remark, scale. Okay, so that's good. Now we want to go into this elevation, see what's going on in here. You can see there's quite a lot going on in here. You can see railing, so not main part, these ones, visible hidden. So it's not showing the railings, but here it says that the railings might be on. So I'll have to look into that. So visible hidden. So I was expecting this to be turned off. Stairs, bracing. Beam side width, beams front top, main part beams. So you can see everything is kind of all over the place here. So let me see. Ladder, visible hidden. So railing objects. So if you go in here and check, you can see railing, rail base plate landing, railing base plate landing, stair. So these are all. So let me just check. What's the scale on this again? I think it was a half inches to 1. So just check your scale before you update. I'm just gonna do half is to 1. Alright, so maybe it was 3/8. It's half inch now. Um, so again, no handrails up there, right? So we're gonna have to figure out the handrails. Let's get something in for the columns first and the brace and the beams. So the columns are looking head on. So columns all will work. So we'll try and find the beams all first, which is this one. You can see it's turned off, probably because it's using most of these other ones, and so you can still see them because this one is below. For now, we'll try and get a column in, right? So as you can see, there's quite a bit of work in this. Um, so with model role, column, apply, labeling rule. I want the one that I created with the leader line for the beams. So the beams, model role, leader line, apply, use, and then the columns should come in with labels if I did it right. No, they shouldn't because I didn't move it up to where it had to be. So I got to move that above the other ones. So these ones are probably front width. So if I move it above, so I got to move it above this one here, I believe. This one. But I'll probably move it above that one. Well, maybe I'll just move it above that one and we'll see. So if I move it to position 32 or 33 even, so move it there. All columns for now is good. Later, if for some reason I have a column going some weird direction, I'll have to change that. So now that's disappeared. So let me check again. So column off. So I guess there's where you learn if it is off. I'll probably do visible hidden system. Visible hidden system. Because it's the side of it, I don't want to see all the lines on the corner, so I don't want it to be exact. Only when I'm looking from the top or the bottom. Alright, so there it's come in with your labels. Some might think it's too small, but this view I wouldn't have this big, so I'll probably scale that back down so the labels look a little better. So now we want to do the bracing, which is not numbered yet either. Let's just go back to the top and we'll bring that scale back down a little bit. So back down to 3 where it was originally. Sorry, shouldn't have closed that. So I want to do the brace, same thing. This time I'll place it along the object as well. So let's go into the elevation and see beam side width, labels off. I don't know why a lot of these are turned off, why they wouldn't have these labels on when it comes in the system. Main part beam all, main part beam side width. So they're ones you're looking at the end of the beam. So what you would probably want to do is the one with the leader line. The column was okay. So the brace was what we were looking for. Ladder joist per lane. I'm just going to see. So there's main part bracing. I don't think there is any single part bracing. So again, we can just copy that column one. And then I'll come in here and change this to bracing. Now, do I want visible hidden system? Yes, I do. Do I want the leader line? No. I want this one. But then I also probably want to move this up above the beams. So I'll move it right there above the beams. Apply, use. Right, so you can see now it has also brought in these ones over here, which I don't want to have in. So you can see it's bringing in this beam here. The reason it's bringing in this beam is because it can see the bottom of the beam. So these are going to be available in the plan. If it's not going to give you all of them, maybe it's as well off to just delete them ones and just give the measurements between them. This vertical brace, see the way it's seeing the corner of it, that's why it's giving you that one. I also would delete those. Now we can look into maybe creating a second label for them just for an example. So let's have a look. I usually don't, but let's have a look at it. So um, so we have bracing all, and that's the one we have there, right? So if we come into this bracing, if we have a look here at the geometric restriction here, front length, linear front, linear side, linear top. Linear side is the end, but it's got to be in line. non-linear side would be maybe the one we want, right? So let's see what happens if we do that, if we change it to that. Is it just going to label these ones? Oh, I didn't even label those, so it doesn't like that one either because it's not linear. I guess it's sloped downwards or non-linear side, but it's not the exact side of it. So we'll have to change that again. Um, and that was this one, right? It's weird. Is it gone? Oh yeah, there. Oh, changed the wrong one. This one was beam side width, wasn't it? Columns. How did the column one disappear though? So it's turned off all the beams there that are, so the columns one. Hmm, interesting. So let me see. That's a little weird. So yeah, I tricked around with it there a little now. I've messed up because I moved the beams non-linear. So the columns was all the columns. Yeah, I'm tricking with the wrong ones here a little bit. So there's the columns back on. And now we want to get the beams back on. So you can see it's bringing in the labels here. I deleted these two, that's why they're not there right now. So beams all, I'm trying to remember what that was. It wasn't beams all because now it's messing up my bracing. See the way it's showing exact bracing? So I don't want that to be exact. It's only the side width one I want to be exact, so I'll change that. Yeah, this was where I went wrong. I think I changed this and I shouldn't have. Side width, column, yeah, beams. This one was all, I think. And then the bracing. Keep in mind you'll have to do this again with the main parts. Uh, So I really should create two, but I could be tricking it with it for a little bit. So what I'll try is do is just make that one for the ones on the front. It should be a little easier. So uh, so now it's turned off the other ones because I only had to do the linear ones. So it's just going to do these two at the front. Um, this one up here, I need to have a label on this one, and we need to get the handrails on. So the handrails look like they should be on, but they're not, obviously. So railing object, visible, hidden. So we have to see what's off here. Angle bracing off, girth off, joist off, grading off. We can probably have the grading on, so just visible. It's saying it's going to bring the mark in, which won't bring anything in if it's not numbered. I'm just trying to remember if the grating is inside that camera. Grating is inside the camera. So back into the drawing style. Whew, yeah, of course, the grating again is not numbered, so again, we'd have to create a new one for the grating as not a single part or as a single part. So we would want to come in here and create grating, visible, hidden. I think visible is good enough. You got to move that up again, remember. I'll just move it up by bracing here. Now you can see you have your grading in there. Um, just going to check the model rolls on. See, I don't know if the cameras are not coming in because of how this is behaving. So what I'll do is let me shut these down. Let me close this out. Ah, I'm supposed to be up in 2025, sorry. slowing it down a little bit. Yeah, so it's a process. I mean, when I did this the first time, it took me a couple of years to do it, I guess. So it's taken me a little longer. I thought I could do it in a couple of hours, but it's probably going to take longer than that. So I don't know. I don't know if it's worth recording if anyone wants to watch it, but it's a, it's a little bit dragged out, right? This doesn't help. I'd probably be better off. See, if I do it on the desktop, I have an ultra wide screen, so I have to chop it down to record it. So it's just slightly easier for me to just do it on the laptop, but then it's also a little slower because of the screen recording software. So I'm just like making excuses for why my video is no good. So I'm gonna close this. Sorry about that. I know 2025. Hopefully it opens a little quicker. Um, yeah, so maybe, once I finish the elevation one, I don't know. I was going to do the plan one as well, but maybe I'm just dragging it out a little. But I thought if people wanted to follow the process, they'd get it fairly close to what they wanted for outputting. Um, there is another thing I can show you while I'm waiting here, actually. So when you create a project and you create drawings, right? So let me find this folder. Um, if I come in here to this project, if I name everything the same, so it's important you keep the names the same. But if I come in here and create a folder and I call it prototypes, if I copy the prototypes in here, let's say you have a different company, you have a couple of different companies, and you just use the original file type name. If you keep the name the same, it will defer to whatever is in this folder first. So basically, if I have a drawing that is, let me see if it's open here, prototypes, yeah. So let's say I have this one here is the one I'm directing it to, right? Right now I'm actually directing it to this, but let's say I switch it back to that. If I take this one and copy it, so I'm going to copy this one and I'm going to put it in here in this prototype. If I rename this back to the same name, Advanced Steel will automatically check for this folder first. If there is no folder, it'll divert to whatever you have it sent to. So this is quite useful. So basically the idea is you can have them all direct, so you don't have to create a lot of um, sorry, let me get this one to the top. You don't have to create a load of new drawing processes, which is what I was doing. Really, it's better to just start a project and copy your prototypes into that folder and then use one default system. See, now my handrails have come back in again. So the handrails are in. So that did work. It was just because I moved to a new version and I didn't have the correct name on the handrails. So let me now now let's see what happens when we go to it. Probably didn't know what to do with it, so maybe that's why it wasn't showing it up. So let's open our drawing style, drawing process, BOM, and you can see what we have. Let's select each LCD. Cameras, select the cameras page full LCD. There's the ADM one. Now you can see the benefit of having the name at the start because I can't see it all here, so that's something we may need to edit. For now, it doesn't really matter. So let me put these in a stack. And let's open this camera view and see it's not up to date. So let's open this camera view. That was not the one we were working on, sorry. Let's open the one we were working on. So it's still not coming in. So I gotta figure this out myself, but I don't want to spend a lot of time in a video figuring it out, right? Because that's not a lot of fun to watch. So I'm just gonna have a quick look again for a second. Elevation view. See, the stairs and railing one, object presentation. Just wanted to see, there's not anything obviously that different. So, see, so if I come down through this, you can see external objects, okay, concrete objects. So when I get to these railings, if I go in and check this, it's saying all objects with the model roller rail. And it's showing that the labeling is off, but they should be visible and hidden. So why is the railing not showing? It shouldn't. So if you look at the main part rails, group 2 is kick rail landing. I mean, so beams are also, railings, but the railing is above it. You can see the ladder is here, all objects, visible, hidden, labels off. The main part of the ladder, visible, hidden, market name. So let's say we just switch. So if I go back to 200 and we'll update this with that drawing style to get some of those labels in that we don't have. So now you can see we're getting a handrail over here. We're not getting all the handrail. So honestly, there's just something weird going on in my system. Now, did I do something with this handrail? So if we check this one, railing, handrail, landing. So they're the same model roll. Now, just so you know, these aren't finished handrails. These have the macro just splits them wherever this beam is. So right now I'm just waiting for approval. Then I will end up redoing these handrails and putting splices in different places, like over here, probably. So just in case you're wondering about that. But there's something wrong with the behavior here, which is unusual, because these are all the same, but this one is not coming in up here. So that's a little weird. So there it is. All right, just came in there now. So I don't know, and I'm missing this one. Why is that not coming in? I don't know. Why am I missing these pieces on the end? It may just be because I have previously, must be just because these profiles were changed. Let me see if I double click on this and open it, right? And double click, because that's all I did on the first one, right? Double click that and open it. Now let's see what happens if those other two come in. So that one came in, but the two elbows didn't come in, right? So in order for the two elbows to come in, do I need to double click on that one, on this one? Or maybe I just need to recreate those elbows, right? So that maybe what I need to do. Obviously this is not supposed to be part of the video, but sometimes it's more important to record some of these mistakes. Or so if I delete this, I think this was a 1.9 radius. 1.9 radius, I believe, yeah. So if I delete that and delete this, and then I'll copy that over. Now, should I copy it or just restart it? I probably should restart it. So this is a bigger issue than obviously just setting up my system. This is this project I brought in with a handrail from a previous version of Advanced Steel, in case you have this issue. So I'm just going to go back and create this quick handrail connection. And I'm not going to use the previous one I had. So I'm going to make this a knee, and I'm going to make it 1.9. And then I'm going to copy that down. Uh, I'm going to update and see what happens. So those two elbows came in. These two elbows came in, even though I didn't update them. So now let's go back here and see. So it's not my drawing style's problem. It's the handrail that I created. So as you can see, it's coming in parts. This is pretty unusual. Um, So I don't know. I guess let me see if I can work my way through this while we're still recording, I suppose. I'm going to delete all of these, and then obviously these ones came in, but I'm going to delete them anyway. And then I'm going to copy these over, whole way around. So maybe this is the problem here. Oh, yeah, that's inside in the macro, so I don't want to delete that one. Sorry. All right. So let's see if that makes any difference. If anything else comes in, this is quite interesting. So obviously you don't want to have to do this. The best thing to do is either redraw the handrails. Chances you coming across this issue are fairly slim. Because the only reason it's happening to me is, as I say, I didn't start this project in this version. So I'm going to do what I did previously and open each part. And let's just see now. I didn't do this one. Let's see if any of these come in. Alright, so the next thing to do is just delete that, come back here, select the camera, go here. Now that I have it, it should be this one. Yeah, I gotta put it on the existing drawing of, what was that, 200? Uh, what's it, 200? No, that was actually on 101, wasn't it? Now it's gonna try and squeeze that on the 200. Yeah, so that didn't work. I tried squeezing on the 200 instead. Now it's after putting it on a new sheet. So it was this one I should have put it on. So we'll just try again. And let's put it on 101, E101. Maybe it's just a case of having to recreate it. Maybe that's what I should have done at the start. No, still the same thing. So that's so weird. I don't know what I should be doing. It just doesn't like the handrails now for some reason because I created them with a different name, which I created in the previous version of Advanced Steel, and now I recreated that name and named them that, and now it doesn't like it. So this one came in. So this is just a little kind of a glitch thing. So uh, let me just see if I come into this. I'm at a bit of a loss. I know I don't know why it is happening, but I know the reason why it's behaving weird. But I guess if I can't get them to come in, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me because I'm working. I've already submitted this project in Advanced Steel 2024. I don't intend to do it in this, but it's just unfortunate I can't get it to work right because it doesn't. It kind of looks like I have no idea what I'm talking about, I guess. So I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. So what we'll do is we'll go back to this one because at least we can see the handrail in this one. Um, so really, we want the top rail to come in with a label. So if you go down through these, there's different groups which probably aren't great. So if I come in here and we want to do beam, model roll and section and probably leader line, right? It's probably going to end up putting leader lines on everything here. No, so it's only going to do, yeah. So the other groups are like for posts and stuff. So that's pretty good. So you just want that to come in like that, and then you have that, you have that label for the handrail also. All right, so now I have the label for the handrail. Honestly, this can only be the basics because a lot of this I'm going to have to keep doing as I go along. So right now we got the labels for the columns. We got the labels for the braces. You can trick around with the location of the labels. So if I check for columns, the one with leader line. So if I go to the columns, um, the labeling rule, You can see based on the area, top or bottom, it's saying. Meanwhile, it's coming in the middle, right? So this can be kind of tricky. See if we do, let's try bottom and we'll see what happens. So nothing moved. Sometimes that's a case of you have to recreate the whole drawing, to be honest with you. So what we can do is if I move this off to one side, let's see if we can shoot the other one on here. The same one, but it'll update to the new labeling settings, I guess. That one was on 200, wasn't it? So you can see now this label has come in all the way up here, right? So, and these ones are coming in the center. So it's a little tricky to label and directions. Now, these ones have come in below the handrail. So you're better off to have top or bottom, and it gets at least some of them right. So this is in this label, right? It's not just in the column one. So as you can see, it messed up my handrail one. So top or bottom, you can get into this. It gets pretty tricky. Honestly, it's hard to figure out what's working, what's not working. Sometimes you have to, like I just did, create a new drawing. You can't update an existing one. It doesn't always work in my experience. So I'm gonna go back again and recreate this again. Back onto the 200 drawing. But you get the idea. Look, this could go on for hours, so I'll probably just cut it at this for the drawing style. Um, Regarding the process, maybe we'll take a look at that for a second before I turn off. So you can see the labels back on the top here now, which is obviously good. These ones are a little tricky, but the thing is, you just kind of put them where you like them, quickly. I don't like that these are coming in. I had these set up previously. I believe I had set up my own location and I had the column ones coming in at the bottom of the columns. So that's something I need to figure out how I did the last time. Um, Other than that, I guess the point is this drawing process here. Uh, I've mentioned it earlier. Um, this drawing process, camera selected, ADM. So we can see right now it's directing this to the ADM drawing, right? So let's direct it back to the original drawing. All right, so now it's directing it back to the original drawing. The original drawing will be this one here. So let's have a look at it. It's this one here, the Autodesk one, okay? So that's the same name, ANSI prototype ANSI, right? So again, we'll just have a quick look, prototype ANSI. So prototype ANSI, okay. So the trick with this is if you come back into that folder we had with the prototypes, this one also has the same name, but it is not the same drawing style or the same prototype. It's my prototype. So it's the same way if I come in here, now it should work if I have it done right. If I select this and now I use that same process, but now I've changed the name back to the original name, this should originally, this should, now if I go in here, you'll see There is no where are the project documents? It should give me another. No, no, that's right, yeah. So I'm going to make this on 201, right? Okay. Now we're going to see, it's now looking for where the prototype is. If I've done it correctly, this now should be on a drawing that has the same name as the original one, but should be taken from my prototype, if I'm doing it right. And you can see it is. So that 201 now is coming into my prototype. So the idea behind that is that now you can just use this one prototype every time, but the next project have the same prototype folder with the same prototype names, but just a different prototype. So you just have to keep track of it in a folder that has that project's name. So the next time you open, and you can do this for all the assembly drawings, the single part drawings. So it's quite useful. Um, Obviously, these are low down because of the grid line is up here. So may want to move the grid lines down, or else just move the dimensions maybe up somewhere where it looks a little bit better, like here. Um, yeah, so that's the idea. You can see, uh, obviously we need these ones, right? So let's see, that'll be the last thing we'll do. Let's get those, because I meant to do that previously. Those beams that are going across. So what we want to do is we'll come back in object presentation, and the beam side width, we're going to copy them. And what type of beams do we want? Well, we shouldn't have copied that one, right? Because now we have to change the label as well. But front length is probably what we want, right? Let's have a look. Front length should be good. And then I want beams, and I want this one here. And then I got to move that back up again, right, like we did previously. So I want to move this up pretty high side width, just below, above columns maybe. See, front length, it should be below columns because it might actually apply to columns. So let's try it here. Once it's above beams all, it should come in. All right, so there it is there. Was that in already? That wasn't in already, right? I didn't, I didn't see it. No, it wasn't in already. All right. So we have to apply that again now. Sorry. Came in over here as well. That did it. I saw something I didn't like over there. So you get the idea anyway. There's a little bit of tricking around in it, and I kind of do it on a daily basis, but sometimes it's hard to find some things. So you can see it's coming in for the clip angles, right? I don't want the clip angles on that, obviously. Uh, so also those clip angles are coming in as exact. We don't want them as exact. So generally what I'll do with that is I'll just create one for clip angles, right? So uh, see, sometimes there is one already, but it's probably for the main parts. So let's come in here again and beam all, beams all, this one here, because I want it off. Visible hidden system. I don't really need them. So this is the one I'm going to copy anyway. So I'm going to copy that, and then same thing. You got to come in here. You got to see what you want to change this to. I want to change this to something with the model rolls, clip angles. Okay. Labels I want off. I just want visible for now. It's fine. I don't want it exact. I just want it visible. Again, forgot to move it, did I? Every time. Every time. Alright, so forgot to move it. So also the beams front, that's a problem with that as well. Um, Let me check that again in a second because I'm seeing too many lines there, right? So let's move this up. Clip angles, I want to move it above beams. I want to move it above these other beams. All visible, okay. Clip angles, okay. Right, the beams front, this one, I do not want this to be exact. And I'll show you why. So we'll apply first and then we'll come back and do that. See all these lines here? You can see there's a bunch of lines. Alright, so the clip angles have now turned off. And see these lines in here? That's because it's trying to show you the exact of that beam. And we don't want the exact of that. So we're going to go back and turn it off that. And then we're pretty good. I can pass this on because one of my clients, a friend of mine, he's looking kind of for uh, you can see my other clip angles have gone off here. So I don't want them to be off if I have the beams on and the bolts on. So we're going to make this visible hidden. As you can see, it's all kind of personal taste. So that's why it's good to be able to do it yourself, right? And then the beam from the side. So this one, I just want visible. It's probably good. I don't think I need the system either. So again, just visible. Apply, use, and let's see. So these clips should come back on over here and that beam should be a little cleaner. No, so that beam didn't come in a little cleaner for some reason. And the clip angles are good. Okay, so this beam is still coming in as exact. Now, if you come in here, you can change some of these, right? You can turn off the hidden, you can turn off the visible. You can't make the cuts any better. So these handrails aren't too clean either, so we want to clean up those handrails also. So the railing, I just want them to be visible as well. So that's going to be visible. And now why didn't this work for me? The beams front length, because I changed the wrong one, that's why it looks like. So I just want that to be visible. So sometimes you kind of look at it too long, you're changing the wrong ones. Um, there'll be a couple other things I'll have to do here. So the railing just worked for the top rail, as you can see, because that's the only one that came in with the labels. So we want to go back one more time and we want to change the other ones because it'll just clean up your drawing as much as you can. So railing here, railing hidden. I'm going to make that visible also, and this one visible also. Alright, so now the railing is a little bit cleaner. Just want to bring these labels down here somewhere where it looks a little better. You're going to bring these ones up a little bit. This one I think bring down. You could try and squeeze it in there, but it's not going to fit, I don't think. So something like that. Alright, well you get the idea. So, oh, I got a bit sidetracked there, I guess, with some stuff, the handrails and everything, but hopefully it helps. You get the idea anyway. So, yeah, so the one thing I would probably leave that bracing on just to make it, you could give a dimension to the bracing, but you're going to give it detail for that anyway, right? So after any of these things are all kind of preference. So also what you can do, the one other thing I might do is, remember we did this bracing? So there's a couple of different ways of doing it. You could separate the two of them, or we set up this bracing where it'll just do the ones that are uh, going across in front of you, right? So bracing, non-linear, right? Front. So if I create another one of those, and instead I change it to all, and then I change this to leader line, and then I move this up above, not above. No, it's not going to work actually. No, it will work. It will work. If I keep this below the other bracing, uh, there it is. I thought it had disappeared there for a second, sorry. So let's see if this will bring in those outer brace and their labels. So now it's brought in that vertical bracing with a label. So you can have them in as well if you want. But I'm going to have another view of that side, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But it kind of gives you an idea. So we're getting a little closer. This elevation symbol is just based off the model actually having one in here. So it's up to you if you want to put them in. If we copy this down, or just put a new one in at the end of the column, which should be the top of that pier, minus 8 degrees. If you then update this, it should come in with the other one out here. You can see the other problem we have is we don't have any anchors. Obviously, you want to turn the anchors on. So I don't know why the anchor. It's weird decisions. I don't know why they're sending them out like with anchor bolts turned off. Like why are visible hidden? Oh, you know what? This could be another issue with anchor bolts. It is. These are anchor bolts that I've created in the previous version of Advanced Steel, and now they're not available. That's why the anchors can't be seen. So what I'll do for now in this model is I'll just change them to upgrade to primary. So I've created quite a few of those in the past, so I'm just going to put it in as a Hazar or something. Alright, so that should have changed all them. So now when we go back in, these should populate. I thought they had them turned off, but it's because I create a new anchor and it's not available here now. Alright, there's your anchors. So I'm not going to put any labels or anything because I'm going to have a detail for that, but you get the idea. So you're getting kind of closer there. But anyway, I don't know if these videos are useful. Give me some feedback if they are, and I'll do another part to this. I'll continue, maybe do the plan view, and then there's some other stuff I need to cover, maybe adding some new anchors and stuff like that that I need. But I hope that helps. All right, bye.